Hey everybody. So yesterday, or actually, well, it's weird because I record these 5 days, in like I have 5 days worth that I uploaded 5 days worth ago yesterday, and yesterday I didn't upload. So, um, so basically, like today I missed a day. I forgot to upload yesterday, and then but that's 5 days ago. So, anyways, but I think I'll probably upload these all in sequence. So, if I do, then that'll make sense. It'll make sense when I say yesterday we did this, but like for the one I uploaded today, I said yesterday we did this, and it was actually 2 days ago. So that's weird, but that is kind of that's got it, like if you want to really be good at software development in the modern days, especially if you're going to use Git and things like that, you have to sort of at be comfortable with thinking about weird time situations because like when you check something into Git, like a lot of times people get very confused because when you do a commit and then you merge your branch into another branch, what happens is you'll get like people will have it in their head that the code that was in that commit became part of the source code of the application when that commit was committed, but what didn't. It became part of the source code of the application when the branch was merged. I mean, there's a way, like if you branch with no fast forwards, then you can see when it actually came in because it'll sort of uh, put a little branch when you look at it in it. But and then like there's a way you can smush it and say no fast forward, and you can get all of the you can see exactly when the code became part of. But I've seen countless number of arguments between developers talking about this has been in the codes for 3 months. It's like, no, you merged that into your branch 3 months ago. It hasn't been in the code since your branch got merged in. And then everyone just kind of gets confused and stuff. So, anyways, yeah. 5 days ago, the video I uploaded today was 5 days ago for you. And I said yesterday, but I didn't upload one yesterday, 5 days ago. I don't know, think about that. It's fun. It's fun to think about things like that. Anyways, that is not what we're here for. I probably should do a series on Git though. Um, Git is, I think, one of the most misunderstood technologies that we use on a regular basis. So let me just talk about this thing a little bit. How much time did I waste? I wasted 3 minutes on that. Sorry, guys, guys and gal. But so this is a pretty interesting animation. It looks like this black text going through there, but it's actually a uh, shadow of a text. So what I have is a light that's sitting at 7. I have two lights sitting at 7, light 2. And then I have a mesh that is a text mesh that starts off at the z equals 6 position. I believe it ends at the z equals 5 position. And then I have a wall that's at -2. Let me see what happens if I make that 0. Yeah, it gets bigger. Um, and then, so then I have a text mesh that's at -6. Oh, I said that already. So now if you look at the animation at the X position, oh, let me do that. I was wondering why it was moving sideways. Negative point, oop, -0.4. There we go. I was wondering why it was kind of moving to the side. Okay, so if we look at the Y at the Z position, basically we have that text is moving from 6 to 5, and it's also rotating. So if I made it like 6 to 0, so you actually see the actual text. And I guess I should make that, if I'm going to do it that way, I should make this text a um, Fong. Yeah. So basically, if I pause this animation and I start at 0, like we don't see the text at all. And then it comes in let's see what other animations we have. Z 0 0 or Y 0 0. X is -4, -4. I think the lookouts are all left alone. Oh yeah, I did animate the camera. Oh, I can animate the colors, but that wouldn't be too interesting. But anyways, so that's what that is. Basically, there's an animation of a text that starts off behind the camera. Um, oh, okay. So I need to move the camera over to -0.4, and not the look at, but the actual position. And its position is 1. So 0.44 and negative. Okay, so now it's directly behind us. Yeah, it's directly behind us. It'll probably look a little bit more directly behind us if I make this 0.3. Maybe 0.2. But anyways, so that's what that is. I'm going to move that Z position so that it never to 5. That'll slow things down because it's not moving as far over the 3 seconds. And then you never see that thing. Let's see. What if I start it back a little farther back? So it takes a little bit. I don't know exactly why it takes so long to show up. Let's try 8. Still takes a long time. 7 is just a little farther than what we were originally. And I think 6 is where we were at to begin. So that's that. Okay, so what we were trying to do last time is we had actually gone into the font list component into the TypeScript and loaded up, got all of the, we don't need this code because it never even happens. And we load up our font names and we make them into strings. And then I'm going to hit save so I don't forget to. And we should lose our animation. Yeah. And then, but what we still have our old font values of normal. Now they recently in, this is Angular 18 and Angular 17, they changed the templating language. And I don't feel comfortable just trying to do that from memory. So I just kind of I just found another implementation of it. And it's kind of cool because this one is also for a mat option. So I can just lift and shift this code into here. And then instead of menu items, this is fonts. Oh, my fingers are off center. Fonts. And I'm just going to call this a font. So basically, this says that, let's see, font.name. No, oh, I'm sorry. No, that's all I have is, it's just a string. So this just is font. And then we're going to show the value of font. So basically what this is saying is iterate over fonts, name them font, and it demands a track. I believe this is required now. And we're telling it to track by the index. So basically that's a fancy way of saying Control Z. That is I was meant to do Control Z and I hit Control S. That's a very fancy way of saying this, every one of them is going to be unique. I'm saying, because basically what this wants to know is like, what is the unique identifier in there? And since this is just a simple primitive array of primitives, and every one of them needs to be unique, that's good enough for this situation. If you, I can't quite think of this situation where, like, it's very possible that, I guess, I don't know. This is super convoluted. It's possible that you could have like objects, and what you're showing is names, and you could have duplicate names, but you want the ID, and maybe there's an ID that's come from the database, and so that's how you would tell it. Oh, use font.id um, as the unique identifier. So I'm going to go ahead and add this as a mesh. I'm going to change it to a text box, and hopefully we have our two fonts now. Okay, so next on the list of things to do, that I'm going to do in the next video is I'm going to create a function and track one of the events. It's probably, we had let me go look at that. Since we did this up here, I could just look. Wrong one. Oh, wrong one. Font list animations. No. Oh, this is what I wanted to look at. Where I'd used @4 before. So basically over here, I have two-way binding with select property. And so let's look at that real quick. That's a kind of a surprise to me. And select property is a variable on here, which is not an input or anything. Oh, okay. So, that's interesting. So it turned it into a signal. Okay, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And this is where I think I discovered this sort of thing that I'm uncomfortable with in signals is this. All three of these all of this code will run no matter which one of these signals is published to. And I don't like that. I don't think that's a good idea. So I am actually not going to go with this approach. I'm going to go with probably a change event in here. So I'm guessing that over here they probably have like a change. Yeah, I'll probably do that on change, and I'll call a function, and on change probably has some, has an event, and that event probably has some information. So basically, that's probably going to be the next video, is calling the new function, passing in the event, and sort of examining the event to see what we have to work with. And it probably will have the name itself. And then that is the next step forward. The following step will be to Control S, to create an output signal from this guy. And then the following step will be then in the mesh manager to listen to that signal and update the font, or call the font the mesh update, and that mesh update will have the new font, and then start working it on that side of actually updating the font. So we're probably 3-4 sessions away from actually being able to update the font. Then that puts us, the next thing that I'll be trying to get done will be pulling a bunch of the anything that's associated that I can easily pull out of this service and putting it into a mesh service. That will put us up to 3 services. I like to kind of create a additional folder structure when I start thinking about it at 5, be very, very serious about it at 7, and then it's a disaster if I haven't updated it by 10. So That'll only put us to 3, so that's fine. Um, then that the foldering system is fine for then. And then last but not least, and probably the most important thing that I need to do in this round of work will be to, if you look at the mesh interface, I kind of went down a path that I'm not happy with now, and that is um, I created these optional forms and subs, and that was to support these, so that an object would have its form, and then so whenever I got an object back, I would be able to work with it. So when if I had this up, and then let's say I made a change in animations, I already had this subscriptions and the forms available to me. That was a mistake, and the reason is because there's also forms in animation, and um, and not only that, but I also thought that that would be a very difficult way to it would be this would be a pretty big, like, all of these things here are very exportable. Like, I could save these as text. This is not. So I would like them just not to exist. So that will entail creating a dictionary in the mesh code, that, like, it'll carry its own dictionary, and if the values don't exist, it'll update. It'll if the form doesn't exist yet, it'll create it. So that means whenever I export one of these things and I have all of this stuff, and then I import it and it comes to this form, it'll be like, oh, okay, I've never seen this form before. I'm going to create a dictionary for it, or I'm going to dictionary entry for it. So that's that. That would be the end of this round of mesh work, and then I'll do another round of camera work. And I don't know exactly what I want to do in the cameras. I think the cameras might actually be done. Um, I do have a very unfortunate thing where maybe I'll combine orthographic. I have two different interfaces for cameras. I have orthographic, a perspective camera, and an orthographic camera, and that has been extremely cumbersome. So I might try to combine those and have just one um, object, um, and then that's going to cause a pretty big refactor. But I think it'll be worth it when we come to uh, exporting and importing. And the reason I'm so fixated on exporting and importing is because right now, whenever I create any of these things, it's that session. It's ephemeral, and which means that, like, it's gone. The next time I open this up, it's gone. And I would love for if I'm going to put a bunch of work into one of these 3Ds, to be able to say, okay, now save it out. Okay, now let's import it back in. I think that is a huge game changer for this application. Um, and so that would be the next step. Or so maybe combining those would make life a little easier in the future. It is a lot of overhead and extra work. And since I am kind of just looking for things to do for each of these until I feel comfortable with importing and exporting. But then after that will be lights. There is a different kind of light that I would like to add, because right now all you can add are point lights, and there are other kinds of lights, so it would be cool to do that. And then in the scene, I think the only thing, there is a kind of light that is seen, that is to the whole scene. I think I would like to implement that in here, even though it's a light, technically a light. I feel like it's a light that, like, if you're saying, hey, I want a light that's just this amount for the whole scene, um, that would be really nice. And that would be nice if I could animate that as well. And then we'll do another round of animations, and then I believe lights also have a form and sub. So I would like to refactor those out, and then I think when that's done, it'll be time to basically unify all these interfaces into create like a single interface that unifies them all. And once that's done, and then update everything to use that instead of individual pieces. and that's going to be a lot of work. But once that's done, then it should be dirt easy to create an import export scheme, um, and once that's done, it'll be very easy to create like something that saves to local data and and stuff like that. And then like I think at that point I will have called this an MVP, completely done. It has everything, the minimum viable product, um, and it would be time to sort of figure out, okay, what direction do I want to take this in? There's so many directions this could go in at that point. And then the other big thing is like, do I need to rebuild from scratch now that I've gotten my prototype and my MVP, or do I need to, or can I just continue to build off of this? And right now, like I have not seen a single, like the only thing that I see that really traps this is these guys. Um, but I'm gonna get rid of those, and then I feel like there's no I'm not boxed into a corner anywhere. So, anyways, that's that. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.